This is SWBC Mortgage's Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk.
Check this out.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco. Brought to you by Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. The National Medal of Honor Museum. Discover the National Medal of Honor Museum and witness real people, real stories, and real courage. All Tech Lansing. Just listen with All Tech Lansing, perfecting sound since 1927. And by SWBC Mortgage. Customized solutions to help you meet your personal and business goals. Visit SWBC.com. Now, your hosts, Nate Newton and Bobby Belt.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to Cowboys Crosstalk live on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, DallasCowboys.com, and all other associated social media platforms. We are live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco. I'm Bobby Belt from 105.3 The Fan, the radio flagship home of the Dallas Cowboys. Tonight, I'm joined by the pride of the University of Missouri, Mickey Spagnola, a very proud Missouri Tiger over here.
Absolutely.
As always, we've got the three-time Super Bowl champ, six-time Pro Bowler, and John Madden's favorite football player of all time, Nate Newton.
Yes,
here.
sir.
And our guest tonight is one of the greatest defensive backs to ever touch a football field. He is a three-time All-Pro, four-time Pro Bowler, and three-time NFL interceptions leader. I'm, of course, talking about Dallas native and Berkner High School alum, Everson Walls. Everson, thanks for joining us, man.
Man, Bobby, you're famous, man.
I'm hardly that.
Every time I turn on the radio, they're talking about Bobby Bell. That's all I hear.
Nah, that just means I'm oversaturated, Everson. That's not famous. That's not a great thing. I've got to ask you because we ran through kind of the list there of all the accomplishments and things like that, and we already knew you as somebody who three-time interception leader at the NFL level, but you also led the nation in interceptions your senior year at Grambling. You led the state in interceptions at high school when you were at Berkner High School. You're 1 year playing football. So I guess let's start there, just your senior year at Berkner. How was it that you went from just not playing football at all to all of a sudden playing it at a very high level at Berkner in your senior year?
Man, we'd have to go through psychology 101 for that one.
Hey, that's what we're here for. We're here to give people psychology 101.
You know, back in high school, I was just a very angry young man. And I just wanted to play basketball. That's all I wanted to do. And even though I loved the game, the coach didn't love me. And so I ended up not trying out my junior year. And football was nowhere in my plans. It's no way I was going to get out there and put this big helmet on my head. I had the coolest afro ever in high school. So there's no way I was going to mess that up every day. And plus the weather is too hot or too cold. So football was just not my thing. And eventually, after getting in a lot of trouble and realizing that kind of sports was my way out, I came to the football coach, Coach Alan Holliday, with my hat in hand and asked him if I could try out for spring ball at Berkner High School. And once I got out there playing free safety, it was like playing basketball. I took to it very well. And like you said, ended up leading the district in interceptions.
How many?
I had 8. Just 8.
Just eight. Now that's so. I got to ask that in basketball because naturally, all right, we see somebody like Trayvon Diggs. When Trayvon Diggs gets a bunch of interceptions, people go, "Well, he was a former receiver. You know, he did this. He has a knack for the ball." So somebody who just walks onto the field and leads the district in interceptions. I'm guessing were you like a really good rebounder? Or where did the ball tracking skills come from?
Oh yeah, I could dunk the basketball, but that was nothing new. I think it was. I never wanted to be a defender. I wanted to be on offense. I thought I was Drew Pearson. You know, slow.
With the afro too.
Yeah, with the afro, I was slow, overachieving. So I kind of figured I could play wide receiver, and I did end up doing that. But of course, at Berkner High School, they had the slowest guy in high school. His name was Jay Haas. And Jay Haas played wide receiver. And for some reason, they would not let me take his job. So whenever they would want a big play, they would take Jay out and they put me in. And after a while, the opposing teams got to understand that. And so every time I came in the game, they were like, 80's in. And I'd run a reverse or run a flag route or something like that. So
You know, I know you ended up, after that 1 year, you ended up at Grambling State. So 1 year high school ball, that was enough to get you in front of the famed coach Eddie Robinson, or how did you end up at Grambling State?
Oh, you got to have a hookup when you go to Grambling, man. And just so happened, my girlfriend at the time, named Sherelle, she's my wife now. Her uncle was the defensive line coach. So he's bigger than Nate. He's like 6 feet 7 inches tall. He actually tried out for the Cowboys back in '71 or something like that. So he was able to get me a meeting. My mom and I were able to get a meeting with Coach Robinson. My grades were good. Of course, I graduated high school, and all I needed was an opportunity. So we had to convince Coach Robinson of that. And I'm pretty sure God was looking out for me, because I think someone had reneged on a scholarship because they had one available. You don't have scholarships available during the spring game. By that time, you've already signed all the people that you need. Somehow there was one scholarship available for me. I don't know if my uncle-in-law had anything to do with that, but I was able to secure the last scholarship that Grambling had, and after that, it was over.
You know, it's fascinating. I hear you talk about very angry young man in high school, and then you kind of got to senior year, and it was just like, all right, this is my lifeline here that I need.
Yeah.
Was that just an instant wake-up call, an instant change, or was there a process involved, and you were still growing when you got to college and growing at Grambling State?
No doubt. I was definitely still growing. I think when you talk about young men that that feel in some kind of way about themselves, you have to have a way of articulating it. That's the problem. When young men today, they have these troubles, they're not able to articulate what their anger is. And as I got to Grambling, you get that HBCU education. There was more inclusion than not. I was able to participate in a lot of things that allowed me to understand the sense of myself. Because before that, man, it was tough. It was tough just trying to communicate with people on what you were pissed off about.
Yeah.
And so eventually when I got to Grambling, I was able to just articulate everything that I had in my head, some of it real, some of it not. And you start to have a little bit of accountability as well. And that's what allowed me to be a leader on that football team at Grambling State.
How long did it take you to start? What was the interceptions like? Your first year? I want to know all of this.
My first game, Doug Williams, of course, is out there. He's the first black college quarterback to be up for the Heisman. And so we're promoting Doug. Coach Roberts promoting Doug. We blew out, I think it was Alcorn, the first game, beat them like 60-6 or something. So they finally put me in as a free safety. I don't know how the hell it happened, but the ball was just up in the air, and I'm like, I think I can get that. And when I got the ball, I tried to score a touchdown. I got flipped. I almost killed myself out there. So that's one interception my freshman year. No more playing time after that. I was playing half the season my junior year. It's something about my demeanor that does not bring trust from coaches.
Right.
I don't know what it is.
Too cool for school?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, man. But for some reason, Coach Robinson he didn't trust me, but my teammates did. And my teammates worked out a plan for me my junior year to play the second half of every game at a different position in the secondary. I was able to learn how to play cornerback and safety because my teammates went to Coach Robinson and they laid it out on the line for me to Coach Rob to let me play half the season in that manner. So I ended up getting 4 interceptions and a couple of touchdowns my junior year by playing in the second half only. And then all of a sudden my senior year comes. Man, it was over. It was over. No one could beat me. They brought some of the best to town. Joe 747 Adams, Tennessee State. #1 offense in the HBCU, and we were the #1 defense.
And he ain't lying.
Yeah, Joe 747 Adams.
Did you play against him?
I saw his residue of what he left on the field.
You saw the contrails of that 747?
Man. Like a storm. Everywhere he went, like a storm done blew through
That's
there.
right.
Not only did he take your heart as a football player in the secondary, he took all the women with him when he got on the field.
He was cool.
He was cool,
He
man.
had swag.
Yeah.
He was cool. he came on our campus. They came to our dorm talking trash about how they're going to beat us. We were already down the hill ready to play the game.
Right.
He came into our dorm. He went around the whole campus talking trash, taking our women as well.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro.
And so we had something for him. We ended up beating like 52, 20-something. We got him for 7 interceptions that day. That game was the reason that he was not drafted in the NFL. They ended up, he went to Saskatchewan and played there for quite some time. But I had 3 picks that game. And that's when my coach finally really trusted me. Because when you have a guy that's not very athletic, you know, I guess, like you say, the demeanor that I had, I guess my body language, it was like a Mozzie. I must be looking like Mozzie out there. My body language looking real bad, right?
But you didn't play like that.
But I didn't play like that. That was the deal. So I was able to lead the nation in interceptions. So end up career-wise, 16 interceptions at Grambling State University.
Wow. So the fact that you got off to a slow start with the Cowboys just followed you from high school to college to Tom Landry.
And I think it's because I play for great coaches. And great coaches, they are not ready for the unusual. They're not accustomed to the unorthodox. And that was my style. I thought I was doing it the way they asked me to, but when it came out physically, it didn't look the same. And so coaches would look at me and go, you know, I'm sure we can do better. They're looking over my head like, I'm sure somebody else is back there, but there was no one.
All right, let's take our first break here on Cowboys Crosstalk. We got Everson Walls with us here this evening. I'm Bobby Belt. We got Mickey Spagnola, Nate Newton with us. When we come back on the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk, let's dive a little bit into the start of Everson Walls' career, some of the progression he had, like we mentioned, 3-time interception leader, and then, you know, some of the later career stages, going to the Giants, playing for Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick, and maybe we'll get his thoughts on Bill Belichick at North Carolina as well. That's next on the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk.
Back to SWBC Mortgage's Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk.
Yeah, check this out.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
At SWBC, customized solutions for individuals and businesses are just a click away. Visit SWBC.com to learn more and start your next adventure. We are live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco for the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk. I'm Bobby Belt from 105.3 The Fan. Tonight I'm joined by Mickey Spagnola from DallasCowboys.com. We've got the 3-time Super Bowl champ, 6-time Pro Bowler Nate Newton here. And our special guest this evening is the 3-time NFL interceptions leader and alum of Berkner High School, Dallas native, Everson Walls. Everson, thanks again for being with us tonight.
You're welcome.
So, you know, we were talking about it a little bit, that you got to Dallas. There were questions about your speed, and all right, does he have the long speed to really hang, the athleticism to hang at the NFL? But you did manage to get here in Dallas. Talk about the arrival here in Dallas, getting here, and then fighting once again for an opportunity and belief in you.
Well, led the nation. Very disappointed that I did not get drafted. So there's that anger coming back again. So I was very pissed off about that. And so when I got to the Cowboys, the reason I picked Dallas was the devil, you know. If you're going to come to the NFL and play for any team, if your team is the Dallas Cowboys, then, you know, let me take a shot.
Yeah.
Not only that, there was an obvious need for cornerbacks. I think that assumption is correct because we brought in like 25 rookie DBs. And there were times when we didn't even get in through the drill because there was so many DBs that we had. They just put a whole bunch of us in there and had us just fight for it. And first day wasn't that great, but from then on, everything went well. I think I tell people this on the podcast all the time. Even though my technique wasn't the way they wanted it, it was effective, number one. And number two, I was always where I was supposed to be. My father was a coach, so he was very stickler, and he's an engineer too. So everything had to fit right, and I have a little bit of that myself. So when you have a player that's obedient to the defense, then that's something that coaches always catch.
That's going to be something that I think we're going to talk about next segment and probably the next couple segments. So
I didn't mean to bring.
No.
Bring that up.
See, that's a radio pro. He's teasing ahead. This is what you're supposed to do.
You're a rookie free agent. You're coming home to play against players you grew up watching and cheering for.
Yes.
So now you get out on the field. What was that like?
Well, once again, I came as undrafted, so whoever I was going to meet up with, I wanted to feel my ire, feel my wrath, right? And so the first person that I was talking trash to happened to be Tony Hill. And Tony Hill has his own wrath. And so we got into it the first time that we met each other. I jacked him up the first time I saw him, the first route, and he's like, okay. He said, we're going for real this time.
Yeah.
I found out what for real was like.
Yeah.
And, after my ankles went down a little bit from the swelling because he broke it, that was just a first lesson. That was really, I guess, my welcome to the NFL moment right there.
So your rookie year, how long did it take you to start high?
It took me 5 games. And I always, when you're a rookie, it's more than just the regular season game.
I know.
It's the preseason game.
Yes.
That's where I had to come through.
Right.
Thank God for a guy named Michael Downs from South Oak Cliff High School. First preseason game against the Packers, if I'm not mistaken. He blocked a punt.
Right.
And easy peasy. I just picked it up and ran it for a touchdown. And I had a touchdown in my first preseason game. The next 3 games. How many did
you play? How many preseason games?
I played all 4.
Yeah.
But I had 1 touchdown in the first game, and I had 3 interceptions in the final 3 games. So.
They weren't still playing 6?
No, they weren't playing 6. We were playing 4. We were only playing 4. That was enough. I was extremely comfortable by the time preseason came around. I was ready to go. And so Tom Landry could see what was going on. You could see the DBs that we had were not good. We knew that the previous year. That's why I chose the Cowboys, because they had a lot of undrafted guys. They had Aaron Mitchell. They had Steve Wilson. Those weren't their guys. They weren't the guys that we weren't going to go with. I knew I was better than they were. And when I came in the last day for the last cut down day, we realized there were too many DBs in the room. So we're like, oh, something's got to give. And by the time the meeting started, Aaron Mitchell had disappeared. They had tapped him on his shoulder and told him he was going to Tampa.
Ain't the playbook.
And that was it. So we had it. Michael Downs, Ron Fellows, myself, we were the 3 that made it out of that group of 25.
You've got to have, and we're talking with Everson Walls here on the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk, you've got to have the most decorated career in terms of coaches that you've played for.
True.
Of all time.
So true.
If you go back to college, it's Eddie Robinson. Then at the NFL, it's Tom Landry. Your special teams coordinator year 1 was Mike Ditka. You then go
I don't even remember him.
You go to the Giants, you get Parcells.
I don't even remember him being there.
That's exactly. You're loaded with that
crazy.
much coaching talent.
That's true.
You got you go on to the Giants, you get Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick. You go on to the Browns, it's Belichick again, but then it's Nick Saban as your defensive coordinator.
DC, yeah.
Just really, really decorated. Is there anything that you would say, looking back on all those coaches, and say, hey, here's the one trait all of these guys had that helps me realize this is what a great coach has?
Dedication to their game plan. Dedication to their thought and coaching process. They're stubborn with it. All coaches. Tom Landry was never going to go without the flex defense.
Some form of it.
You're never going to have Bill Parcells talking about we're going to look to throw 300-plus yards in this game. Belichick, you're never going to play against the defense that didn't have some of the best athletes and the best minds on that side of the field. Those are the things that they were known for. But if I was going to point out, and I know you didn't ask me, but I love to say this, and it's true. My dad was my best coach, period. He taught me everything. He taught me how to catch, the way he carried himself. I tried to be a lot like him. He was intelligent. People respected him everywhere he went. And he always wanted to pass on information to the younger generation. So he was one of those old school guys, probably a lot like Nate's dad, probably a lot like Mickey's dad, to where if they see something in the community wrong, they're going to say something. And that's what made him, I guess, organically go into coaching. he wanted to be an influence over younger kids because he loved the game so much, and he was really smart at it. He was a fullback. And so most fullbacks, centers, quarterbacks, middle linebackers, safeties, they're the smartest on the team most likely, especially back then. And he was that fullback that knew every aspect of the game. He knew how to play defense. And the things that he taught me, it's the way he said it that always connected with me. And he simplified it for me. So when you're talking about a guy that's not that fast, he made me understand the rhythm of the game. He made me understand the limitations that you might have and how to play with them. He was just really amazing at communicating, sometimes not so softly.
So you end up with 11 interceptions your rookie year. Did you understand what was taking place while you were doing, like it wasn't historical significance then because somebody had more than you night train lane before that,
no
right?
Doubt, no doubt.
But that you were doing it, did you understand, like, whoa, this is 11 interceptions in the NFL?
Well, yeah, I did. When you come from Grambling, you understand the importance of achievements and sports. I knew that I was the most unlikely Grambling candidate to do this. When you look at the long line of amazing athletes that came from Grambling State University. And so I took a lot of pride in that. I truly did, and I still do, because I hated when someone tries to tell me what I cannot do, what I cannot achieve. Because if I can go out there and cover a Ron Brown or Willie Gault or even the guys Drew Pearson and Tony Hill, if I can go out there and cover those guys, you can't tell me that you knew I was going to do it when I went out there. So I'm not listening to you. I'm listening to me because I did it. I'm the one that performed, and I'm the one that has the confidence that I can still do it. And so you got to be a little bit stubborn as you make these accomplishments, because sometimes if no one else notices, you got to be proud of yourself.
Everson Walls joining us here on Cowboys Crosstalk. Okay, so I did mention, and we're going to have plenty of space here because I know Nate really wants your perspective on defensive back play within the context of what's happening right now to the Dallas Cowboys. But before we go to break, I got to ask you, you did play for Bill Belichick. You talked about he either one of the highest quality athletes or the highest minded athletes. You were like one of the more cerebral players. That's what made you a Belichick guy. Were you surprised to see that he ended up going the college route? And I mean, obviously he's had some struggles early on, but do you have any sort of a forecast for like how you think he's ultimately going to play out as a college coach?
You know, when it comes to Belichick, I'm always optimistic because, I mean, the guy knows football back and forth. Not only that, I'm kind of probably like Nate and Mick. I believe in kind of old school thinking, and that's Belichick. Nate talked about it today. You can't have too many damn excuses on a team. And that's one thing that Belichick does not suffer. He does not suffer excuses from anybody. If you're on this team, that means you're a football player. If you're a football player, you can make football plays. And he holds you to that. And I think there's a lot of excuses around now in society as well about why we can't do something. Belichick and guys, great people like him, they all think
Tom Landry.
Why can't you do it? There's no reason you cannot do it.
All right, let's take our second break here on the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk. We got Everson Walls joining us here tonight. Of course, we've got Nate Newton, Mickey Spagnola. I'm Bobby Belt from 105 through the Fan. When we come back, boy, there's been a lot of discussion about communication, execution, responsibility, all those things with Cowboys secondary,
right.
Particularly after what was a brutal, Week 3 loss to the Chicago Bears. We're going to get into it with Everson Walls when we come back here on the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk.
Back to SWBC Mortgage's Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk.
Yeah, check this out.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
Want to use what the pros use? Jack Black is the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit getjackblack.com today. We are live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco for the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, DallasCowboys.com, and all other associated social media platforms. I'm Bobby Belt from 105 through the Fan in Dallas, the radio flagship home of the Cowboys. Tonight, I'm joined by DallasCowboys.com's Mickey Spagnola, big fan of Jack Black right here.
Yeah, I saw that.
Through the read. He knows how good that stuff is.
Great stuff.
GetJackBlack.com. We've got the 3-time Super Bowl champ and 6-time Pro Bowler Nate Newton here, as always. And our special guest this evening is the original ball hawk, 3-time All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion, high school, college, and NFL interceptions leader, Everson Walls. Everson, thanks again for being with us tonight.
That sounded good. High school, college, and pro.
I know, it's all three levels.
Man.
You know, we talk about all three phases of the game.
Yeah.
You're all three levels of football.
Wow.
You're out here dominating and being an interception leader. So we made reference to it before we went to break here. The Cowboys obviously had a tough performance last Sunday against the Bears. They dropped that one 31-14. And it was a lot of the same issues that were on display in what was a tough but well-deserved and well-earned victory in Week 2 against the Giants, which was just it looked like a lot of busts in coverage, a lot of bad communication, and there were a lot of it's starting to grate on Brian Schottenheimer, I think you can tell. Monday when he was talking to the media, he now he's feeling a little under the weather, but I think he was also not super happy after watching things back, and he had talked about, look, there's got to be some changes probably, and even inferred personnel changes can be on the block. When you watch this team right now, Everson, and you see in the secondary specifically some of their problems, is there anything that just flashes at you or blinks in your mind and just says, hey, this is the biggest thing they've got to correct right now?
Well, just besides knowing their assignments, recognition. Most good defenses, we talk about it on the podcast, most good defenses, they have an idea what an offense is trying to do to them. And that allows them to anticipate at the snap of the ball. If they line up in a certain formation, then you'll always see the good defenses. You always see that middle linebacker or that safety. There it is. Everybody like, here we go. Be ready, be ready. They're making a defensive audible maybe, and they're ready for not just to make their audible, they're also ready if the offense makes its audible. So there's this, this chess game going back and forth that we seem to be losing on every play. You have to be able to anticipate what you're going up against. Otherwise, you're just going out there as a blind team. You have to know what their habits are. You have to know what they've done in these situations before. And that's just coaching 101. I want to blame the players, but it seems as if there's a communication gap because I'm sure the coaches know this.
Yeah.
Eberflus, he knows this. This is a guy he's the master at doing this. It seems as if there's a gap between what he knows versus what he's able to show them that he knows. Because trust me, if he's as good a coach as I think he is, then he should be able to communicate better to his players.
This is a really good point to bring up because this is the thing that I like asking guys who have played. Because a lot of times fans hear communication. I think they felt this way a couple years ago when the offense talked about it. They hear communication, they go, that's such a broad catch-all. I don't know football. I don't understand it. What do you mean communication? You're not talking to your teammate? You're not. What does that mean? So take the most complex defense you ever played in, whichever one that would have been.
Flex defense.
So you're in that defense.
Yeah.
Walk us through. Call comes into the huddle. You break, and pre-snap, let's say the offense makes some sort of a shift. What's the process of communicating to everybody how you're going to adjust and what needs to be communicated and how it's communicated?
If you have a shift by the offense, it could change everything about that formation altogether. In other words, if you have 3 wide receivers, then you're going to be playing pretty much a pass defense, especially if they come out in a wide formation. Let's say they shift down, and you've got a tight end and a wide receiver there together. At that point, you're looking at now potential crossing routes coming from the tight alignment by the wide receiver. You're looking at possible audible to a running play because that's why they brought the wide receiver in to shield off anyone coming from the inside. Not only do the DBs have to talk about what the change is, now the middle linebacker has to adjust his defensive line. So there's going to be recommunication during every level of the game, in the secondary as well as on the line of scrimmage. Everything changes based on the call that we anticipate. Because first of all, we anticipate them doing this. So once they do it, here it is, guys. Now we're going to change that flex weak to a flex strong. And that's a totally different thing. Now the strength is over here. It's not over here on the other side. You understand? Those are the kind of things that changes your entire responsibility as a team and a player.
You done messed up them folks worse. Let me give you a little bit simpler and tell me if I'm helping.
No, I thought that was very good.
You understood.
Yeah, that was good.
But them folks out there in radio land said, this dude just messed. Let me give you an example of what he's saying. You have 3 receivers on one side, bunched up. You have 1 receiver on the other side. Okay? Now you have 3 DBs possibly covering these guys. Or you can bring a linebacker out, a between guy. But let's say it's DBs. I'm saying from a safety point of view, you have 3 guys on one side. You bring that safety over just a little bit more.
He has to favor.
He has to favor it.
Yes.
Well, we had plays where they didn't favor it. But if that guy one of those 3 receivers go over to the other side, first of all, you got to let that corner over there by himself, because I'm saying it's one-shot guy in the hole. You letting that guy know, hey, man, you're by yourself. And that is Diggs, who we saw took the shot. That was Diggs. They should have let him know, Diggs, you're by yourself. So now you don't take that shot and miss. You get back because you by yourself. But if that receiver that's in that 3 bunch come over there, then that safety have to come back to the middle field or come down a little bit lower. But he has to let Diggs know, we're working together now. We got deep quarters.
Right.
We got deep quarters.
Right.
Now, if I'm a fat lineman telling you this right here, the flex ain't going to never be learned. So he shouldn't have used the flex defense. The flex,
no one does the flex.
He's asking for the most complex one.
Yeah, you gave him, bruh. I used to look at the flex, and man, that's why I almost got cut my rookie year trying to learn how to block the flex. But that is as simple as I can make it.
And I think also, Nate, the technique within the defense call.
Yes.
And I fuss with Spags about this. There's too many free releases. Mm-hmm. Those free releases, they give too much pressure on your safeties. They cannot line up deep enough. If you're going to play defensive back and you're going to play a wide open offense, this is one thing that Belichick taught us.
You got to hit somebody.
You have to reroute that man. We didn't do this with the Cowboys. We did not do this because we didn't play that much zone. When it comes to playing a zone, as you play cover 2, we didn't even play cover 3 in New York. Cover 2, that linebacker, whether it's Carl Banks or if it's Pepper Johnson,
yes,
they're going to reroute that slot receiver
every time
and give me a shot as a safety so that I can have leverage on everything going side to side or deep. So it sounds difficult, but it really isn't. You just deviate, just a little deviation, and it changes everything. And I talk to Spags about this all the time. Plays have timing. They have a beat to it. There's a rhythm to it. When you're a safety, you have got to get back deep enough to where you know that ball's going to be thrown within 4 seconds. Just give me 4 seconds. You don't have to play 6 seconds, hopefully. You don't have to play 7 seconds. You just have to be deep enough for a 4-second play. And right now, we are making these 3-second plays because the receivers are releasing and the safeties are like, oh, and I know what they're saying. I can't say it on the radio, but they're like, oh, damn, I'm beat because I lost my leverage because this guy came down on me untouched.
So what you're saying is Luther Burden shouldn't have been running down Michigan Avenue with no cars on either side of him for 65 yards?
Right. That's correct. That is correct.
The only person that's getting inconvenienced for a split second is the outside linebacker or out wide defensive end.
Yeah.
You just a split second. You jam this dude, throw off the timing, and then you rush.
It reminds me of, we were out at training camp, I think, 2 years ago, and Mickey, I was standing up on one of those platforms, those high-rise platforms, so we kind of get a unique opportunity to kind of see things and hear things a little bit. And I remember Dak was running through receiver routes with the tight ends, and he was having run throughs. And when you talk about that precision, I remember he throws a pass. He has Princeton Fant running a route, and he throws the route, and he goes, again, and he calls Princeton Fant back, and he goes, Fant, that's 12. That's not 12 and a half. And he's like, if you want the ball in your hands, you need to be 12.
That's it.
And I remember, Dennis Houston, when he started, I was talking about Nate with this before the show. When Dennis Houston was active as an undrafted free agent rookie, and third-round Jalen Tolbert as a rookie receiver was not active, and you would ask people on the team, why is Dennis Houston active? And they would say, Dennis Houston's going to be where he's supposed to be. Dennis is going to be where he's supposed to be, and that's a big part of the battle right there. So, to your point, those little jams knocking somebody off their route, that can throw off
mess up
so
the
much.
whole timing. And now Russell Wilson or Caleb, they can't just sit there and on the podcast talk about it and just go timing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plant, throw. 1, 2, 3, plant, throw. You can't do that if you reroute people. They do it to us all the time. That's why I'm so confused. When teams play best against the Cowboys offense, it's because they disrupt our timing every time. And as a matter of fact, they don't even give room to breathe most of the time. That can be discerning for a quarterback initially until the ball is snapped.
So go ahead, Nick.
I was going to say, and a lot of it seems like it should be recognition of what's about to happen.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to give you guys an example. One year we're in training camp. Dat Wynn shows up. He's working radio in San Antonio. And I'm standing next to him, and he's watching the offense line up, right? And he goes, da-da-da, da-da-da, they better watch for this. And he was right every time. He wasn't even at practice.
Yeah.
He was just recognizing formations and saying, here's what's got to happen. You got to be able to do that and be smart if you've done your studying to prepare for that stuff. It was like, and we talked about it, Bobby. Of course, I had an eye on Luther Burden, right? Came from the University of Missouri. Mm-hmm. Had 2 catches coming into the game, right? And he lines up 3 to one side. He's in the middle. And somebody had to think, now, why is he there? He's only had 2 catches in 3 games, and this guy's lining up right there. And nobody touched him. He just flew right down the field.
The thing is, they paid 14% man. Okay, what happens if he's okay, fellas?
Makes it easier.
Okay, fellas, let's go 25 or 30% man. What people are failing to realize is 2 things are not happening. There's no recognition in what is going on. There's no pre-recognition, and there's no talking through the play. And most important to me, and people keep saying, I've talked to a lot of DBs, man, I understand that I may have to take away that first option, but Lord Jesus, can we get somebody to touch the quarterback? Everybody just keep ignoring the fact that we ain't even touching the quarterback. We done spent the whole 744. Okay, when is we going to touch the quarterback?
That's a great question, because there's a guy coming to town who has a tendency to touch the quarterback that we can talk about.
And his compadres. He got like seven Robins.
We can talk about we'll talk about that next segment. As we throw it to break on the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk, I want to leave you guys with a question to think about over the break. DeMarcus Lawrence, no longer here. DeMarvion Overshown, not on the field. Jordan Lewis left for Jacksonville. Are guys not stepping up as the guys who are supposed to communicate and recognize and be the high IQ players at all 3 levels of the defense? Has there been enough done to replace those guys as contributors in terms of IQ and recognition? We're going to talk about that next with Everson Walls here on the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk.
Back to SWBC Mortgage's Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk.
Yeah, check this out.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
At SWBC, customized solutions for individuals and businesses are just a click away. Visit SWBC.com to learn more and start your next adventure. We are live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco for the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, DallasCowboys.com, and all other associated social media platforms. I'm Bobby Belt from 105.3 The Fan in Dallas, the radio flagship home of the Cowboys. We got Mickey Spagnola from DallasCowboys.com with us. Big Jack Black, also a big SWBC guy, I would assume, as well. A big fan of that, I would guess. Three-time Super Bowl champ, six-time Pro Bowler Nate Newton is here with us. And our special guest this evening is, as we called him tonight, the original ball hawk, Everson Walls. Thank you for joining us, Everson. And he's Coach Walls tonight. He's here to, or Professor Walls. He's here to really break it down for us and let us know where things are falling short. Before we get into the return of Micah Parsons this Sunday night, and a situation that you sort of found yourself in when you went to the Giants. You had a homecoming game of somewhere where you had, established your career. But I asked before we left, the big communicators on defense at all three levels last year for the Cowboys, a lot of people felt like Jordan Lewis in the nickel, DeMarvion Overshown at linebacker who's out with an injury, DeMarcus Lawrence along the defensive line. Those are the guys communicating, talking, really making sure everybody's on top of their game. Was enough done, do you think, to replace the loss of leadership and communication on those levels? Or was it just, no, you know what, players at the end of the day have to be responsible to step up and become those guys?
To me, if you're being paid, not just paid, but if you're being paid and you're considered to be someone that they think might contribute on the field, some of them they don't think are going to play, practice players and things of that nature. But if you're considered one of those guys, I think you just owe it to your teammates to step up when it's your time. The Cowboys have a history of that. This guy right here, Cliff Harris, guys like that you never banked on. Myself, Michael Downs. These are guys, Dennis Thurman, they expected a lot from him, and they got it all. This is our culture here. This is what we do. That's why it's unusual for me to be accustomed to guys not having that next man up mentality. First of all, you see it around the pros every day. You have to have some guys that I'm not going to sign a guy if I don't think he can start for me, even if he's not going to start. I'm going to sign him thinking if I had to start this guy, I feel comfortable with this guy. Otherwise, I'm not just going to sign you to play special teams. I want you to, yes, you can simmer playing special teams, but I want you to be able to play for me when it's time. I was accustomed to it growing up. When you go to college, you don't go through that on a scholarship thinking, man, I hope I never start. I hope I never get a chance to play. That's not how you think. When I came to Grambling, I'm like, I got to be able to start here. When I came to the Cowboys, I got to be able to start. When I came to the Giants, I asked Parcells, I said, look, you have to start me. I'm not coming off the bench. You have to start me because I can add something to your team. I don't care who you are. You're going to bring something with you to this team. Otherwise, why am I signing you? I don't think you're going to be useful for me if you're not going to think I better be able to start for this team just in case Nate Newton goes down. I'm going to be ready because I've been watching Nate Newton. I've been seeing how he practices. And I say, okay, if Nate goes down, I'm ready. It's just, that's the way it is. I thought that's the way it was.
And the thing is not the salary cap. And let me say this right here. It is a distinct difference in player A and player C. I understand that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But if I'm bringing in players, and first of all, you got to check. The one check mark that I'm praying that we do from this point on, how is his head? Can he comprehend what I want? Can he line up? Because when you're not that great of an athlete, the advantage you have is the extra film study, the extra. I may be 10 yards down the field, but I'm in this A-gap, Coach.
That's right.
I'm in this A-gap. I'm telling you, Coach, I'm downfield, but I promise I'm in the A-gap. We got guys just running around.
And I'm pretty sure the coaches are telling them not to do that, aren't they?
45, 31, 29, 31. These are big plays.
In big moments in the game.
Big moments.
You forgot 65.
65.
Yeah, come on.
Guy from Missouri.
His boy.
You know what, man? Y'all laugh. You can laugh at me.
Where did 65 go to school, Mickey? University of Missouri, right?
You can laugh. You can laugh at me, but I promise you, if I was a DB or safety for the Cowboys, and they say, man, Nate, that dude scored on you from 65 yards, but I say, you know what? I was at 66.
At least.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm at 66, Coach. He didn't get as deep as me. Right. I was deeper than him, Coach.
I hit him at the goal line.
It was funny, but, brother, you are challenging the basic things that separate us from college, high school, and part one. It's our ability to think and to play the game. That is the check mark I'm looking for now. When I look at players for the Dallas Cowboys, I want to know that, because you couldn't play for Coach Landry. If you blew an assignment, you can be the most talented. Like Walls said, he didn't like my technique, but I was where I was supposed to be. The coaches admire that. But when you don't give them that, now you force their hand.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Got about 90 seconds left here. Micah Parsons does make his return here. Probably the biggest return to the AT&T Stadium since Ezekiel Elliott when he came back with the New England Patriots. But you had a big return. In 1990, you came back and played the Cowboys after a long career here. Talk about that game. Did you feel like you had any sort of extra emotions? Did you have to kind of control your emotions? What are some of the things that Micah Parsons may be going through coming in here that the Cowboys might be able to take advantage of, whether it's distraction or emotion or anything else?
I don't think he's going to be distracted at all. Matter of fact, he might be wound up a little bit more than usual. I remember I came back in 1990, and I was playing a familiar position. I was playing cornerback, and I wasn't as hyped. I was very under control because – I had a hell of a squad with me. And what I did was I just did my job. I tried not to overdo that. But I always have to say, and it's got a lot to do with this guy, when we came away from that game in 1990, we handled them pretty well. We didn't score a lot, but we didn't give up any scores. And I'm geeked up. I'm hyped. Like, yeah, we brought it to him. You guys, thank you for the win. And LT was sitting there very calmly, and he said, those guys are going to be good. I'll never forget that.
But that day, what was the last play of the second quarter? Just before after, you remember?
No.
Interception on Troy Aikman. Everson Walls got it in his return game.
Oh, that's right. I sure did.
Everson Walls, thank you for joining us tonight. Nate Newton, thank you for being here as always. Mick Spagnuolo, thank you for hanging out with us. I'm Bobby Bell from 105 The Fan. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you guys again next week on the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk.